we are on Ahkam al-Masjid, the Islamic ruling regarding the
ويحصل الأماكن التي نهى الشارع فيها الصلاة. Those places where Allah has prohibited us to observe Salah. He also mentioned the most noble of the Masjid of the world. He mentioned the three mosques, Masjid al-Haram, the Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina, and Al-Masjid al-Aqsa in Bayt al-Maqdis. Then we mentioned Masjid al-Quba, also in Medina. Quba used to be an aspect of Medina, but it's now part of Medina. When the Messenger alayhi salatu wa salam made Hijrah from Makkah to Medina, he stayed in Quba before he went out to Makkah. So Quba used to be the outskirts of Medina, but today it is part of Medina. Then we mentioned Fadlu Bina al-Masajid, the virtues of building a mosque. And we said that the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam said, Man bana masjidan yabtaghi bihi wajha Allah. Whoever builds a masjid seeking Allah's face with that action, bana Allahu lahu mithlahu fil Jannah. Allah will build its light for him inside Al-Jannah. We explained its light. What does it mean? Ulama explained that. We explained the explanations of Al-Imam al-Nawawi and others. We also said that the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam gave us the command to build mosques in areas. Every area should have a mosque. We mentioned the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha. It said that Amar al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam بِبِنَاءِ الْمَسْجِدِ فِي كُلِّ دُورٍ. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam ordered that a mosque should be built in every area. وَأَنْ تُنَوَّفَ وَتُسَيَّبَ. And those masajid should be tunawwaf, should be cleaned. وَتُسَيَّبَ and perfumed. The Messenger said so, alayhi salatu wasalam. Then we discussed some rulings regarding rebuilding and renovating a masjid. Is it allowed in Islam to rebuild a mosque, break down a mosque and then rebuild it? Is it allowed? We discussed that. We also discussed selling a mosque. Is it allowed to sell a mosque? Somebody builds a mosque in his area and then he sells the mosque. Is it allowed? We discuss these matters. I'm just trying to help us and myself reorganize our minds regarding what we had discussed on Ahkam al-Masjid, Islamic rulings regarding the mosque. We also discussed converting churches to mosques. Is it allowed in Islam? To a church and we convert it to a masjid. We discussed this matter. Likewise, is it allowed to pray in a masjid that deals with wealth from haram? Within the verdict by Al-Lajna al-Da'ima that they say that تجوز الصلاة في كل منهما. It is allowed to perform salah in a masjid that is built with wealth from haram. And that they say that وَإِثْمُ كُلٍّ مِنَ الْمُرَبِّي وَالسَّارِقِ. And the sin from the one who gets involved in interest or who stole the money, it says ala nafsihi. The sin of his sinning is on him. But the salah of the one who performs salah is valid. That was the fatwa of Al-Lajna Da'ima on it. We also asked whether it was allowed in Islam to build stores under a mosque, shop. The mosque up, shop down. Is it allowed? We discussed these issues in our last class. Today, inshallah, we will proceed with the rulings of the Sharia regarding al-mahari. It means we are still discussing the rulings of the Sharia regarding the construction of a mosque. Part of what we see in mosques are what we refer to as mihrab. A mihrab is a concrete structure you see in the front. But these days now it is built into different structures. It may be rectangular, it may be spherical, it may be of any structure. It is desired or expected that the Imam will stay inside it when he wants to lead Salah. They call it mihrab or mahari. Although that word itself, mahari is plural, that word itself, mihrab, means a secluded area. An area that is made special in an area. There's an area and a part of it is specially dedicated for certain things. That is what is generally referred to as mihrab. So when they now dedicate an area inside the mosque for the Imam to fall into and perform Salah, this is what we intend to discuss here. Like this place that is dedicated for the Imam, it also takes the structure of a mihrab. Because nobody can stay here apart from the Imam. And part of what the ulama have said about mahari is that when the Imam goes into it, the rest of the people do not see him. Once the Imam is inside here, those who are on his left and on his right, they do not see the Imam. وَقَدْ جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. And the Imam has been appointed so that he may be followed. So how do we see the Imam? How do we follow an Imam that we don't see? Ihram. The Imam goes into it to observe Salah. What is the ruling of creating a mihrab in the masjid? This is what we are doing. Is it allowed in Islam to put a place in the mosque and then the Imam goes into it when he wants to lead the people in prayer? Is it allowed? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, Al-Imam Sa'id ibn Mansur reported this after in his Sunan. He said, قال عبد الله بن مسعود عن المحاريب. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said regarding the mihrab that إنما كانت للكنائس. إنما كانت للكنائس. The maharib were in the churches, the worship places of the people of the book. He said, رضي الله عنه, فلا تشبهوا بأهل الكتاب. So don't behave like them. If you go to Catholic, Anglican, primary school, Methodist church, secondary school, Methodist church, those things are there. In the church, when you see in the front of it, they create a place like a concrete structure. The pastor is always the leading pastor or reverend or whomever is always there. Ibn Mas'ud said, إِنَّمَا كَانَتْ مِنْ كَنَائِسِ. These maharib, these mihrab, the Imam goes into they used to be in the worship places of the people of the book. فَلَا تُشَبِّهُوا بِأَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Therefore, do not imitate the people of the book. That statement was from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. وَكَانَ يَقُولُ اتَّقُوا هذه المحارم. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu used to say, اتقوا, avoid these maharim. Avoid it. Don't pray in them. Once he went to this second author occurs in Al-Musannaf of Al-Imam Abu Bakr ibn Abi Shayba in his Al-Musannaf, and it is an authentic chain. It says, اتقوا هذه المحارم. Avoid these mihrab. that you are saying. Once we came into a masjid, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahu anhu, and the people wanted to leave Salah. So they told him to go into the mihrab. Say no. So he said to them, اتقوا هذه المحارم. Avoid this thing. Radiyallahu anhu. Likewise, Al-Imam Ibrahim ibn Yazid al-Nakhai al-Kufi, one of the Tabi'un, he said, radiyallahu anhu, rahimahullah, لا يقوم فيها. Whenever he was to stay inside, I will never stay inside that. Al-Imam ibn Abi Shayba reported that also in his Musannaf. Likewise, others amongst the early Muslims, like Al-Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, there's also the author from Ali ibn Abi Talib, that he used to also prevent people from performing salah inside the mihrab, to go out. The ulama say, this is the way of the early Muslims, that they used to prevent people from performing salah in the mihrab. That the masjid of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Al-Imam al-Hafiz ibn Hajar, he mentioned that in Al-Fath al-Bari, that the Messenger's masjid did not have a mihrab. The masjid of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which he built himself, he did not have a mihrab. A mihrab is that place the Imam falls into to perform salah. He does not have a mihrab. So that's why some of the ulama, like Al-Imam Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, Abu Muhammad, in his book Al-Muhalla, he said to make a mihrab in a masjid is bid'ah. Ibn Hazm said that. And likewise Al-Imam al-Tabari, Sayyid al-Mufassirin, he said it is an innovation to make a mihrab in the masjid. Likewise, Al-Imam al-Suyuti has an entire book on the subject, the Imam al-Ari, بحدوث بدعة المحاريب. Imam al-Ari, بحدوث بدعة المحاريب. I have it. A way of informing the people, the intellectual, regarding the innovation, the newly invented matter. What is that matter? Mahari. The Messenger's masjid did not used to have mihrab. Also, Al-Imam Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah also mentioned that it is an innovation. And Shaykh Ali Mahfouz, he has a book, Al-Ibdah. He mentioned issues of innovations in the book Al-Ibdah, Ali Mahfouz. It's a very old book. It's one of the most reliable books of the people of Sunnah regarding issues of bid'ah. He also mentioned that to have mihrab in masajid is an innovation. Likewise, Al-Imam Mula Al-Iqari, all these people say that it is not allowed for an individual to have a mihrab in the masjid. Likewise, this Shaykh Khairuddin Wali, one of the students of Shaykh Al-Albani, he also has a book, Al-Masjid fil Islam. He mentioned in it that it is an innovation. And Shaykh Al-Albani himself, in his book, As-Samarul Mustafa, in the first volume of that book, he also mentioned that having mihrab. The reason we are mentioning all this is that these days, when people find something strange, they want to propose it, which one are you bringing? They've been saying it long ago. It's not a new thing. Some of the people can say, I want to say, I want to pass me for that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. So it's not new that people said that's an innovation. It's been said long ago. May Allah forgive us. It is not correct to have mahari. Although some of the ulama say that it is allowed if a person performs a salah, if his salah is invalid, ulama say the salah is valid. Because the likes of Al-Imam Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, Sayyid al-Tabi'in, he was reported to have performed salah in mihrab. The ulama say because of himself and some others among the early Muslims, they overlooked it and performed the salah there. So we can pray there, the salah is allowed, but the action itself is an innovation. If you want to build a mosque today, don't put mihrab. That is the meaning of what we are saying. If you want to build a masjid today, don't put mihrab. If you have a mihrab, know the ruling. A Muslim always knows what he is doing or she is doing. In Islam. So mihrab is not allowed in a masjid. It's an innovation. May Allah protect us. The other issue we'd like to discuss is about al-manara or al-manarat. Manara, minaret is an Arabic word anglicized. When they say minaret, they are talking about what? Manara or manara. It's a purely Arabic word. Likewise, the word muazzin. It's an English word now. M-U-E-Z-Z-I-N. It's an English word now. And it means somebody who is calling to Salah. So if you are translating, you don't need to say a caller to prayer. Just say muazzin. M-U-E-Z-Z-I-N. It's an accepted English word now. Likewise, the word imam. Imam is not an English word, but now it's accepted as an English word. If you use it, you don't need to put it in italics. You use it like that. It's an accepted English word. If you check the dictionary, you will see the meanings of these words that I say now in the dictionary. So manara, minaret in mosque. You see, is it allowed in Islam to build a masjid and make it have a minaret or minaret? Ulama say it is allowed. It is allowed to build a masjid and have a minaret to it. Because of the hadith of the mother of Zayd ibn Thabit. That hadith occurs in Sunan Abi Dawud. Zayd ibn Thabit, you remember him? The one who writes the Quran for the Messenger alayhi salam. His mother. She had a house not far away from the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She said, كان بيتي من أطول بيت حول المسجد. My house من أطول بيت حول المسجد was among the tallest buildings around the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad. She said, وَكَانَ بِلَالٌ, and Bilal, the messenger's muazzin, one of the messenger's muazzin, رضي الله عنهم, يؤذن عليه الفجر. He used to pronounce the azan of Fajr on what? On that tall building around the masjid. فَيَأْتِي بِسَحْرٍ. So he will come in the early morning. فَيَجْلِسُ عَلَى الْبَيْتِ. He will relax, sit down on top of the building. يَنْظُرْ إِلَى الْفَجْرِ. He will be observing the coming out of dawn. فَإِذَا رَآهُ تَمَطَّى. When he sees Fajr, tamatta, he proceeds. But if he proceeds with what? With the azan. He makes the azan, Fajr is out, he pronounces the azan on that tall building. This hadith, Al-Imam Abu Dawud, who collected this hadith in his Sunan, it is Babul Adhan Fawqa al-Manara. This is the tabweed. Babul Adhan Fawqa al-Manara. This is a hadith chapter regarding calling azan on top of the manara. So they give that as the evidence for it. Likewise, Al-Imam Ibn Qudama Al-Muqdasi in his book Al-Mughni, he also gives this hadith as evidence for making a manara, a minaret on top of a masjid. Likewise, Al-Imam Al-Bayhaqi in his book As-Sunan Al-Kubra, he also gave this hadith as evidence to have a minaret in a masjid. In the stories regarding the issues of azan, you remember that when the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam was talking with the Muslims about how do we invite the rest of the Muslims for as-salah? How do we invite them for salah? One of the Muslims said that he had a dream, and that in that dream, رَأَيْتُ رَجُلًا, I saw a man, كَأَنَّ عَلَيْهِ ثَوْبَيْنِ أَخْضَرَيْنِ, as if that man was wearing two green cloths or 2 green garments. فَقَامَ عَلَى الْمَسْجِدِ فَأَذَّنَ. That man stood on top of the masjid and did what? Made adhan. Ulama use this also, that the adhan should be pronounced outside the masjid on top of a height. That height is the minaret, al-manara. So ordinarily when we build a minaret in a masjid, our intention should be that the muazzin will go upon that minaret to pronounce the adhan. That should be our intention. When we build a masjid and we want to have a minaret on it, our intention should be that the muazzin will go on top of it to pronounce the adhan. If you ask me, does that mean that he cannot use microphone? I say for him to do that is better for him than using microphone. Because the ahkam of adhan regarding him and the rest of the people who will hear him are dependent on that. And Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam al-Nawawi and others, when they discuss who must come to the masjid, they say those ones who hear the adhan of the muazzin when that muazzin is not using a microphone. They say the Musalli, the praying person who has to come to the masjid, is the one who will hear the adhan of that muazzin when that muazzin is not using a mukabbira to shout. You will ask what is the evidence. When the Messenger alayhi salatu was salam was telling the Muslim, the blind Muslim told him, the Messenger of Allah, I hear the adhan. At that time, were they using the microphone? So that ruling is based on it. They always say that the ruling is based on a voice, somebody. That's why one of the things, as is mentioned by Imam Abu Dawud in his Sunan, and he got a hadith for them, is that the one who should be appointed as a muazzin should be somebody with a loud voice. So when this person with a loud voice go on top of a building and announces Salah, Allahu Akbar, Hayya ala Salah, all those who hear his voice must come for that Salah. But if it's a microphone, if they will hear his voice ordinarily, they must come. If not, it is not within their ruling. It is within the next one that is nearest to them, whose voice they will hear. That's why if you live in an area where you hear adhan from 5 masajid, where do you go to? Which of the masjid does it become obligatory on you? Even though some of them, before you get to the masjid, they will finish that salah. So where do you go? You go to the one that is nearest to you. Where when the muazzin calls the adhan with an ordinary voice, you will hear his adhan. This is what is most obligatory on you. So the point is that from the sunnah of adhan is that the person who is making the adhan should make the adhan on top of a height. It is that height that ulama refer to as what? Minaret. Now we call in English, or they say al-manara or al-manarat. So these are the reports that they have employed to affirm that truth. Abdullah ibn Shaqiq, one of the tabi'un, his name is popular in a mas'ala. Who will remind us the mas'ala? Abdullah ibn Shaqiq. Abdullah ibn Shaqiq is popular regarding a mas'ala. The mas'ala of salah. Does anyone who leaves salah without performing it, does he become a kafir or not? It was Abdullah ibn Shaqiq who has who reported from the Sahaba that all the Sahaba that he saw believed that anyone who abandons salah is a kafir. Although there are explanations on that. We are just talking about Ibn Shaqiq. He said, رحمه الله, من السنة الأذان في المنارة. من السنة الأذان في المنارة والإقامة في المسجد. From the sunnah is that you do what? You make adhan on the manara. And you make iqama where? Inside masjid. Adhan outside masjid, on top of the height. So in a masjid like this, if the muazzin goes up on top of the 3rd one and begins to announce Allahu Akbar, this is better for him. Now, There are those amongst the ulama like Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen and others who say that if the mosque hangs their microphone on top of that minaret or manara, it has the ruling that the muazzin has stood on top of the manara. So take that straight. When they hang the microphone, the speaker of the phone on top of the manara, it takes the ruling as if the individual himself, the muazzin, has gone up the manara. But now, you will know from where that sheikh was taking his statement from. Now that you understand the basic ruling regarding al-manara and al-adhan. Abdullah ibn Shaqiq radiyallahu anhu, he said, min as-sunnati al-adhanu fawqa al-manara. أو الأذان في المنارة والإقامة في المسجد. That affair occurs also in Al-Musannaf by Imam Ibn Abi Shayba. The reason we mention these books is we should go back and check them. Al-Musannaf Ibn Abi Shayba, Sunan Sa'id ibn Mansur, all these books, we should go back and check them. It's the reasons why we mention them. It will help affirm what you know and understand regarding the issue. May Allah make us understand better than it is said. Others amongst the ulama say, Al-Imam Ibn Qudama al-Muqdasi, they all say that it is encouraged that the muazzin goes out and makes the adhan on top of a height. That's also the fatwa of Al-Lajna Da'ima, that the individual should make the adhan on top of a height. The other issue is Al-Qubba. Al-Qubba, the dome. The dome. What is the meaning of having a dome? We know the dome. The spherical structure we see on top of Masjid. Is it allowed to have a dome? The Masjid, like the Manara? Others amongst the ulama employ the verse in Surah An-Nur. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع. Allah says the Masjid are houses where Allah has approved that they be raised. The thing means it refers to Al-Manara. Some ulama use that as evidence, that verse from the Quran. But the hadith is clearer and more straightforward. Allahu Akbar. Of course, the hadith has come to explain the Quran. Now about the dome. Is it allowed to have a masjid with a dome? It is referred to as Al-Qubba. Al-Lajna Da'ima. We know Al-Lajna Da'ima we are talking about. This is a group of most elderly, most scholarly scholars in Saudi Arabia. It's not just about scholarship, also about what? Age. They are elder scholars in Saudi Arabia, usually 6, 7, 8, or within this range. So they sit down, they discuss the matter, and they issue a verdict regarding it. So Al-Lajna Da'ima, the standing committee, Da'ima, something that is continuous. So you say standing, Al-Lajna, committee, a group of them. That is what it means when we say Al-Lajna Da'ima. So don't say Shaykh Lajna Da'ima. It's because you don't understand what it means to say Al-Lajna Da'ima. That's why I'm explaining the public class. So everything must be explained. If you don't understand, please ask. May Allah make us understand better than it is explained. Al-Lajna Da'ima say that La na'lamu harajan fi dhalik. We don't see anything wrong about that, about having dome in the Masjid. La na'lamu harajan fi dhalik. We don't see anything wrong about that. They say, إذا كان الأمر كما ذكر في السؤال. If the matter is as was mentioned in the question. The answer of the question is, what was the question? The question was that the individual asked, is it allowed to have domes in the masjid for aerating the masjid and for making lights in the masjid? The lights of the masjid will be hung inside the dome, and then you can provide space for air to relax. They say, Lajna Da'ima said, La na'alamu harajan fi dhalik iza. We don't know anything wrong about that. If it is, as you have explained in the question, that is, if the dome is placed in the masjid with the purpose of aeration, or with the purpose of what? Ida'ah. That is tanweer, to make light in the masjid or to make aeration in the masjid. If this is the intention, there is nothing wrong about it. Others amongst the ulama, like Khairuddin Wani, he said, I think Hafizahullah, what I have in my mind is that Shaykh Khairuddin is still alive. It's one of the elders amongst the students of Shaykh Al-Albani. He has this book, Al-Masjid fil Islam, Ahkamuhu, Adabuhu, wa Bida'uhu. The mosque in Islam, its ruling, the manners regarding the masjid, and what? The innovation that the people have brought into the masjid. He said, وَهَذِهِ أَيْضًا, through this book, Al-Kubab, Al-Kubba, مِمَّا قَلَّدَ فِيهِ الْمُسْلِمُونَ غَيْرَهُمْ. He said, وَهَذِهِ أَيْضًا, even this book, what do we call it in Yoruba? I know that Manara is Soro. What about Dome? The person who knows Yoruba very well. Dome. What do they call Dome in Yoruba? The Sheikh says, هو أو هي أيضا مما قلد فيه المسلمون غيرهم. It is also from among the things that the Muslims have copied other people. Meaning that essentially it is not part of the culture of Islam and Muslims. When the messenger built a masjid, he did not put a dome, alayhi salatu wa. It did not put a dome. Sallallahu alayhi wa. So you see, he even said that Shaykh Khairuddin al-Wa'il, he says, when the people put a dome, they spend a lot of money, there's waste of money. I know that the dome takes a lot of money. A dome can take 1/3 of the whole money with which they build a masjid. The OAU mosque is one example. Let them be hearing that one. I knew when they were doing the money fundraising, somebody was asking them, why this worry? Why do you want to put all this million into a building a dome? It has no value in the Sharia at all. In fact, others amongst the ulama say, and that's where we are coming back to. They say if it is the niyyat ta'abbud, if somebody is putting a dome with an intention that he just in Lawanshe, we are worshipping Allah, it says Fahiyya bid'ah. It says an innovation. He said, but if it is for any other purpose, to achieve that purpose, he says, but the condition with that is that it must not be for ida'atul mal. It must not imply wasting resources. So the reason for putting a dome in a mosque will determine whether that dome is allowed or not. If we don't have a need, today we have many architectural solutions to aerating and lightening a mosque without putting a dome. So why put a dome? Some others amongst the ulama say if it is also for the intention of beautifying the mosque, it is also an innovation. Because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam naha an tashyid al-masajid. He prohibited elongating and beautifying extraneously. We are coming to that, a masjid. Extraneous beautification of a masjid was prohibited by the Prophet Muhammad. Umar radiallahu anhu says, when you build a masjid, protect the people from the sun and protect them from the rain. فَلَا تُحَمِّرُوهَا. Do not go and start painting them with red colors. وَلَا تُصَفِّرُوهَا. Neither should you paint them with yellow colors. أَلَّا تَفْتَتِنَ النَّاسِ. أَلَّا تَفْتِنَ النَّاسِ. So that you do not bring fitna to the people. This is exactly what we are doing today. Umar radiallahu anhu. We are coming back to that. The point is, if the day was included in the mosque with the intention of providing light, or a relation to the masjid, when that itself will not imply wastage, then it is allowed. But if that itself will imply wastage, then it is not allowed. If it is done with the intention of worship, then it is an innovation. Because there is no worshipping in a day that the messenger has not approved. I hope we get this masala. There's some tafsir, some explanations concerning what the ruling will be. I hope that is clear. A minaret is a sunnah from the sunnah of Masjid. Minaret, the surah of the masjid. The worst thing we will do there is to keep a microphone on top of it. The worst. Otherwise, the best thing we will do there is to climb it and make the azan. The best. But at least you put your microphone on top of it. The speaker, barakallah. The speaker of the microphone, you put it on top of it. Like the Abuja National Mosque. It's about the tallest building in Abuja. I don't know whether they have changed it now. It used to be the tallest building. See the microphone up. This is good, sunnah. But for any other than that, no. As for the dome, how much do you think the Abuja Masjid, the dome of that masjid will cost? The dome alone. How much do you think it will cost? Some say it is gold plated, some say it is silver plated, some say it is copper plated, whatever plate it has. The plating is not a big job, and it's not something that is small, it is expensive, very big. There are many architectural solutions that will come in respect to that. So that is about the dome in the building of a mosque. There's also the issue of makanun arfa'u min makanil ma'mumin, makanil imam, raf'ul makan, raising the place where the imam stays above the rest of us. Like they did in this our masjid. Although it's small, some of the ulama say it is small, like Al-Imam Shafi'i rahmahullah. Likewise, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. They say it is small. They even say it is up to the qama of a person. The height of a normal human being is allowed. So the imam will be on top. I went to a program in OAU, I think 2 months ago. They went and put some chairs together and said, I should climb the chair up. Say this, brother. The chair is up. So I was looking, how do I climb it? How do I go up? And they were shooting that program live on their screen there. So what is the essence of going up when you are already, what do you call it, projecting it? What's the essence? You want to make a fool of the person? So some of the ulama say, for salah, if the imam stands on top of something that is as high as a normal human being, the imam is here, the rest of us we are down. They say it is allowed. One of those who said that was Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. And Imam Muhammad ibn Ali al-Shawkani wrote this book regarding the issue. تحرير الدلائل على مقدار ما يجوز بين الإمام والمؤتم من الارتفاع والانخفاض. تحرير الدلائل, investigating the evidences regarding على مقدار ما يجوز بين الإمام والمؤتم, regarding what is it that is allowed between the imam and the person following the imam, من الارتفاع, regarding raising the height, or what inkhifad, or coming down. There are two issues there. Is it allowed for the imam to be up, we are down? Is it allowed for us to be up and the imam is down? Those are the two issues he's discussing in this book. Others too discussed it before him. Before Imam Shawkani, others discussed it. But the point, Ikhwa, is that the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, affairs will always go back to him, no matter how ulama differ. Because some of them say it is outrightly wrong. And Imam Hamid al-Ghazali, he said anybody who did that does not have salah. Let's say the other side of the khilaf. Anybody who prayed on top of a height when the rest of them are down, he does not have salah. And that is the position of Al-Imam al-Awza'i and Al-Imam Malik. He says he does not have salah. The others say there's no problem, he has salah. Let him go even as far as the height of a human being. So how do we resolve the matter? That is why the deen is not based upon human beings. It is based upon the statement from Allah, which is wahy, that He will give us directly or that He will tell His messengers to teach us about. So when there is khilaf, فَحُكْمُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ, the ruling regarding it is with Allah. Otherwise, if it is opinions of ulama alone, where will we be? Some say if you stay on it, you don't have salah. Some say if you stay on it, there is no problem. Big malame. So how do we resolve the matter? The Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wassalam, he said, إِذَا أَمَّ الرَّجُلُ الْقَوْمِ إِذَا أَمَّ الرَّجُلُ الْقَوْمِ فَلَا يَقُمْ فِي مَكَانٍ أَرْفَعَ مِنْ مَقَامِهِمْ إِذَا أَمَّ الرَّجُلُ الْقَوْمِ فَلَا يَقُمْ في مكان أرفع من مقامهم. When a man leads the people in Salah, فلا يقم في مقام, let him not stay in a place أرفع من مقامهم, that is higher than their own. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the messenger said that, alayhi salam. That hadith occurs in Sunan Abi Dawud. It also occurs in Sahih Sunan Abi Dawud. It is an authentic hadith. The Messenger said that, alayhi salatu wassalam. You would have also heard the story of Huzayf ibn al-Yaman and Abu Mas'ud al-Ansari. Huzayf ibn al-Yaman and Abu Mas'ud were in Iraq, in Madain. They wanted to lead the people in Salah, and Huzaifa was to lead the Salah. The riwayah that says it was Ammar ibn Yasir that led that Salah is shadh da'ifa. It's weak. It's not authentic. Because some say it was Ammar, it's not authentic. It was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam that led that Salah. It was Huzaifa ibn al-Yaman radiyallahu anhum that led that Salah. When Huzaifa was going up the Dukkan, the height, the Dukkan is something that is high. They used to sit down on top of it, like a table or chair. He was going on top of it to lead the Salah. Abu Mas'ud grabbed his cloth and drew him back. So he went back, he followed him. So after the Salah, Abu Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu said, أَلَمْ تَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُمْ يُنْهَوْنَ عَنْ ذَلِكَ? Did you not know that they used to be prohibited? Who used to be prohibited? The companions. We used to be prohibited from that. And then Huzayf ibn Yaman said, Bala, yes, you are correct. ذَكَرْتُ حِينَ رَدَدْتَنِي, I remember at the time that you brought me back. When you brought me back, when you drew me back, I remember that yes, we were prohibited. This is evidence that somebody may know the ruling regarding a matter and he will be acting opposite of it because he forgot. He forgot, he didn't remember. He reminded him not that there's a ruling on, oh, sorry. It also shows that when you are reminded regarding a matter, don't dishonor yourself by insisting upon error when you know the truth. You will be disgracing yourself. The honor is in leaving something that is wrong for something that is correct, not insisting upon something that is wrong. So it was a virtue, rahmah from Allah for Huzaifa, that he was reminded by who? Abu Mas'ud al-Ansari. So he went back as he was told. That is also evidence that the messenger used to prohibit, although we heard the statements directly. فَلَا تَكُنْ فِي مَكَانٍ أَرْفَعَ مِنْ مَقَامِهِمْ. That was a direct statement of the Prophet. But the second one is an inference that Abu Mas'ud was reminding Huzaifa that, did you not know that we used to be prohibited? Oh yes, I remembered when you drew my attention to it. Likewise, Al-Imam At-Tabarani reported an author from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud that one day he was with a group of people, somebody wanted to lead them in Salah. The man climbed the place to lead the Salah, he told him, come down! We have been prohibited from leading Salah while standing above and the people are below. So this is evidence that the basic ruling is that we should not have these things where the Imam will climb up above the people and the people are below him. Although the other one is allowed. It is allowed that the Imam is below and the people are above. But it is not allowed that the Imam is above something and the rest of the people are below. Although some among the ulama say if the Imam is above and there are first, second row or even the first row, people are there with him, it has cancelled the ruling that he is alone there. They say that too. There are those who said that among the people of knowledge. Al-Imam Darul-Qutni, when he related the hadith that we have read in his book As-Sunan, he says, Babu Nahi Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam an yakum al-imamu fawqa shay'in wal-nasu khalfahu. Babu Nahi Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The chapter regarding the prohibition by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What did he prohibit? An yakum al-imam, that the Imam stands fawqa shay'in, on top of something, wal-nasu khalfahu, and the people are down below him. The Prophet prohibited that. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam Shawkani gives a lot of statements regarding this in this book, because his opinion also is that it is absolutely prohibited. Whether it is big or small or minor, it is prohibited that the Imam comes on top of a height to lead the Salah. Amongst those who also gave that prohibition was Imam Al-Albani in his book As-Samar al-Mustatab. He also said that it is outrightly prohibited, although he made mention of things that appear as if they are not of the opinion that the person does not have a Salah. They rather opine that the person has a Salah, but he is sinning upon that Salah because he is disobeying the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. However, you may ask, this will lead us to another issue. Those amongst the ulama who say that the person can pray on top of something as high as the height of a human being, where do they see that statement from? Are they just talking? It's a valid question. Cool? Yeah, they picked it from the grapevine. Where did they get that opinion from? What made them say that? The answer to that is contained in a hadith that occurs in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. The hadith is the hadith of Sa'd ibn Sa'd al-Sa'id, the last companion who died in Medina. What's his name? Sa'd ibn Sa'd al-Sa'id, radiyallahu anhu. This companion has something funny about him, radiyallahu anhu. He lived very long. The last companion who died in Medina. Sa'd ibn Sa'd al-Sa'id. Allah gives him long life. He lived long, 500. Sa'd ibn Sa'd. And he married a lot of wives. Yes. He lived here, Alam in Nubala, you see. He was married, he was divorced, he was married. You gave the number that I won't give. If you check the book, you will see. Radiyallahu anhu. And he was also stupendously rich amongst the companions of the Prophet. Sa'id ibn Sa'd. As-Sa'id. He explained that one day the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told a carpenter in Medina to make a mimbar for him. That was why I said this issue will lead us to the issue of mimbar. The Messenger alayhi salatu wa salam asked a carpenter in Medina to make a mimbar for him. When this man made the mimbar, he made the mimbar to have 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. That is the mimbar of the Messenger alayhi salam. Not only that, the mimbar of the Messenger alayhi salatu wa salam has a staircase facing the people. The staircase of his mimbar faces you, not the other way around. We do it now according to our thinking, not according to Sunnah. Sunnah is that the staircase should face the people, so that when the Imam is climbing the mimbar, he is backing the rest of us. So he will climb and then turn when he wants to make his sit up. He will climb and then turn. Not that he will turn on the ground and climb. It is wrong. We hope that one of us, Allah will empower him to build a mosque and build it like this. So people will have to say, Sunnah. So we'll tell you, what are Sunnah? Because it's very common. People think it's the other way. Even a university masjid is built like OAU masjid. The same way, when people build a masjid, do something that is of Islam, they should find out what is the ruling of Islam on it. They think that just like that, only that now, may Allah forgive all of us. So, the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam will climb the mimbar. So they brought the mimbar to the masjid. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he wanted to perform salah, ordinarily what he does on the mimbar is what? Khutbah. His khutbah, his sermons, his admonitions, he gives them on the mimbar. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. 3. 1, 2, 3. You remember the hadith of Abu Hurairah about Ramadan. That the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam was climbing the mimbar. He climbed one, he said what? Amin. He climbed the second one, he said what? And then he climbed the third one, he said what? Amin. Those are 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Mimbar was sunnah. And then if you take the staircase will be in front of the people like this. That is why among the things ulama counts as innovations in the masjid is that even these 3 staircases, people will now do it will not be long and it will be cutting the 4th row. They say it's an innovation. Some people make the mimbar correctly facing the people, but it will be so long and big and like 10 staircases even. So the imam will be climbing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is facing the people. I've seen it before. Go to Egypt. I've seen not 1, not 2 in Cairo. See, this mimbar is not mimbar of Sunnah. You climb 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5. You will not stand up like this looking at everybody. It's wrong. So in that, the mimbar will be so long that it will conflict with the 4th row of the masjid. It is wrong. Because the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, about the sufuf, he says, man qata'ahu Allah. Whoever cuts the stuff, may Allah cut him off. وَمَنْ وَصَلَهُ Allah. Whoever connects it, may Allah connect him. What does it mean? Whoever cuts it, may Allah cut him off of his rahmah. Whoever connects it, may Allah connect that person with Allah's rahmah. The point is, the mimbar has 3 staircases, and that the staircase will face the people. So that when the Imam climbs it, he will back the people. The Prophet did this, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he started salah on top of that minbar. Allahu Akbar. He made ruku. He stood up from ruku. And then he came back from Qari. He was walking behind. Should I describe this walking to you? This was what he did. He was on the minbar and then he was walking backwards like this. You see? So when the Imam is coming, he climbs the minbar like this and then he turns to the people. When he's making khutbah. But when the messenger used the minbar for salah, he was performing the salah, and then after he rose up from sujood, from ruku, he went backward like this. 1, 2, 3. He came down. He made sajda on the foot, at the foot of the minbar. After the 2 sajda came, he stood up again and climbed it again. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This hadith is the evidence that those people use. They say the Prophet has prayed on top of something. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah and others, Imam al-Nawawi, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Al-Imam Ali ibn al-Madini, including Al-Imam al-Bukhari, that is their opinion. The Prophet prayed on top of something. And then he came alone. Because that is part of his salah too. Unless you want to say that one he's praying is not valid. The other prayer, the Prophet prayed upon something. Because after the salah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, Ayyuhan nas, O people, innama fa'altu hadha, I have only done what I have done, so that you can follow me, and know how I have been praying. So ulama say, this is mas'alatun mu'allalatun. The messenger has described why he climbed it. If you climb it for the same reason now, but if it is not for the same reason now, if you pray on top of your minbar in your masjid, so that you can teach the people salah, and you tell them, see how I did my ruku, see how I did this. Ulama ibn al-Hafiz ibn Hajar even say this hadith is evidence that you are praying and you can still be teaching salah when you are praying. Imam al-Shawkani, many of them. So this is evidence that it is not a general thing that he was doing every day. That was why I told them that the reason I do this one today so that you can see me and learn. It's not that you should be doing it every day. So 2 things we have combined. It is not allowed to pray on a platform. But those who say it is allowed to pray on a platform, you know where they are coming from, So that's why sometimes we take some of these matters, we take it easy with people when you see them they may not know the reason for their opinions. But when you know the reason for their opinion, you'll be waiting for the time you'll be able to explain to them and enlighten them. These things should not be in quarrel. Because it's a knowledge-based matter. It's a knowledge-based matter. So, they say if the Prophet prayed on top of that 3 staircase, 1, 2, 3, then it is allowed. So that the people can be seeing the Imam. Ulama say no. The Prophet only mentioned alayhi salatu wa salam what he did to be allowed in a particular circumstance. What is that circumstance? يُعَلِّمَ النَّاسَ صَلَاتَهُ, so that he can teach the people his own salah. So you can stand on the minbar, perform salah on it. And when you want to make sujood, how will you do it? You see the difference now. So if you want to say that is the sunnah you are following, no problem. When you are praying on top of this thing, if you want to make sajda, what will you do? You come back and you make sajda on the ground. If that is the sunnah you want to follow. But to make us understand that that itself is not a sunnah, it's just something that happened, like they say, waqi'atul ayn. Something that just happened. It is not a ruling. It does not have la hukma laha. Waqi'atul ayn La hukma laha. Something that just happens accidentally. It does not have a ruling. You don't base a ruling upon it. And Imam Shawkani gave these explanations in this book. He also gave it in his book, Nail al-Awtar. Others too, like Shaykh al-Albani also gave it in Al-Samar al-Mustafa. Others too. Shaykh Abu Naasir ibn Abdullah ibn Baz, he also has some very beautiful explanations on this. All of them trying to say that in the circumstance of need, an individual can do that. He is also amongst those who say, Shaykh bin Baz, that if a person performs a salah on a height, he has salah. The salah is valid. Although they generally discourage that the individual goes above that height. I think these two issues are clear. The issue of standing upon a platform to perform salah and the issue of the hukum of a member. There are two issues that we have brought in one. Al-Imam ibn Daqiq al-Eid, rahimahullah, is among those who say that hadith, the hadith of Sa'd ibn Sa'd, is not evidence to say it is allowed to perform salah on a platform. It says, من أراد أن يستظل به على جواز الارتفاع من غير قصد التعليم من أراد أن يستظل به. Whoever intends to make this as an evidence على جواز الارتفاع من غير قصد التعليم, to say that it is allowed to stay upon a platform even though you are not intending that you want to teach the people. Lam yastaqim. That person has not given that opinion correctly. لأن اللفظ لا يتناوله, because the expressions of that hadith does not include that you can do it at all times. It does not include that. That hadith shows that it is only in the circumstance of teaching people you can pray upon a platform. Let me say this. You cannot say, I want them. What we are saying is that, we didn't say that. We are saying that you should understand the ruling, we should understand the ruling, and we should do the correct thing. We should agree together to do the thing that is correct. Cool? If we don't agree to do it, we know that it is wrong. You too, you will know in your mind that it is wrong. And when we build a masjid, we will not put it there. It will be a flat level land like that of the Prophet Muhammad. So that the day that Tanabi ba wali ola, our hotel wali ola, so that come out to here. The one who will follow the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to wali ola is the one who do everything like the Messenger of Muhammad with good intention. So we are not saying to say, oh, now what was okay, when they do something, we should go and scatter it. We didn't say that one. Take it along with it. May Allah protect us. Attack the issue of the mimbar. Let us discuss Zakhrafatul Masjid, designing a mosque. Although we mentioned it in passing. Or we should leave it and go to another mas'ala. We should discuss it. Designing a mosque. What is the ruling? Well-designed mosque. People say, Makkah, Medina, and God, that is not evidence. What they are doing in Makkah, Medina is not evidence. Evidence is where? Quran and what? Sunnah. Everybody is bounded by that. Because they are Makkah, Medina. Makkah, what it is. Does it mean that it is right? It does not mean that it is right. If they do something that is right in line with Kitab, Sunnah, and every say this one is correct. There are fatwa, some of the ulama, Shaykh Ibn Husaymin and others, they give, yes, you see people violating it, in fact, inside Haram itself. So that doesn't mean anything. The ruling is regarding the Sharia, the Deen, Quran, Sunnah, Afar, Salaf. This is Deen. Not the action of Fulan and Allah. May Allah protect us. Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu reported from the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. That hadith occurs in Sunan Abi Dawud. It's also in Sunan al-Nasa'i and Sunan ibn Majah. It says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يتباهى الناس في المساجد. لا تقوم الساعة. The last hour will not be established. حتى يتباهى الناس في المساجد. Until people are building mosques to do competition. Which one is more beautiful? Our mosque, the minbar is good. Our own will be platinum or diamond. This competition is one of the signs of the last hour. So now those who do computer software programs, they bring you the most beautiful mosques in the world. The most beautiful mosques. Because if something was the most beautiful, the other one is what? More beautiful, and the other one is what? Beautiful. لا تقوم الساعة حتى يتباهى الناس في المساجد. The last hour will not be established until the people begin to compete in terms of the beauty and the height of their masjid. Our own is bigger, our own is finer. Somebody told me, Lucky Mosque and was it Abuja was compared? Which one is finer and bigger? I just smiled. So this is wrong in Islam. Umar radiallahu anhu. There are other reports, but let's stop at that. Like the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas that he reported from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he says, "Ma umirtu bi tashyid al-masajid." I have not been ordered to design and heighten the masjid. Allah didn't tell me to do that. Umar radiallahu anhu ordered the people to go and build masjids in the areas and districts. He says, وَقَالَ, and then he instructed them, أَكِنَّ النَّاسَ مِنَ الْمَطَرِ أَكِنَّ النَّاسَ مِنَ الْمَطَرِ. Protect the people from the sun. He's instructing them about how to build the masjid. وَإِيَّاكَ أَن تُحَمَّرَ أَوْ تُصَفَّرَ. But be careful that they should not be painted red, neither should they be painted yellow. That is designing them with red and yellow. فَتَقْتِلَ النَّاسِ, so that the people do not come into fitna. Some of the people, when they get to Mecca or Medina, it is the masajid, the beauty of the masajid. The dog, say, this one is fine. They bring their cloth and begin to rub it with it. They think that was how the Prophet built it, alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam built his masjid with clay. And the trunk of palm tree, those were the pillars. And the palm trunk, the leaves of palm tree were the roof. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When it rains, one day it rains, the Messenger of sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made sajda, and the water of clay that attacked his head was flowing down his face. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We can't be better than them. So they are not doing the masjid. So Umar said, Akinna nas min Allah, protect the people from the rain, that is, put a zinc, put a roof. But be careful that don't begin to design and design and design. Don't do that. Radiallahu anhu. But Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says, La tuzakhrifunnaha. I'm sure that you still design the mosque. Kama zakhrafatil yahudu wa nasara. Like the Jews and the Christians design their worship places. I know, say you will do it too. Radiallahu anhu. Ibn Abbas. We do it. Of course, the Messenger has told us that what the Christians do. That is what the Muslims say. Hey, I want church here. Feels fine. So the example to tell us to design the mosque, we are going to copy it from the church. People are from misguidance. Didn't Allah warn us about that? لا يغرنك تقلب الذين كفروا في البلاد. Don't let the taqallub be changing, how they change over time in terms of their wealth and what they do with the money. Don't let that deceive you. They only have a little time to spend. If a place somebody ends his journey, the kind of day, see where you end. Their end is in Jahannam. So don't let their own deceive you. Don't be like them. When Umar radiallahu anhu was telling the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you too, you are putting marks on the marks of marks on your body, and you are the messenger of Allah. Say, oh, so for you the Jews, the Persians, these are the big mansions, the big, no, our own is different. This dunya, we came to work here, so that we can enjoy more than all of that in Al-Jannah. And I never told the people, what is enjoyment in this dunya? Tell me a thing of enjoyment. What is the thing of enjoyment in this dunya? What? Women? What is enjoyment? Food? Now that every food we are eating itself is a problem. Food now is problem. So people now have food restrictions now. You don't know? There are people who cannot eat eba. You know that? Eba. If you can't the food they can eat, I know somebody who cannot eat through his throat. He has cancer of the throat. So that part of the esophagus has been removed. He feeds with liquid food and mulch beans, they mulch it and put it there. He has a sack somewhere here. He opens it like a tube, they pour the food there. He's a staff of NMTC, he's a big staff, he's a big man. If you see him, you can't know. So what is the enjoyment of this dunya? Car? Or house? If you build a house today, in 5 years time you don't like the house again. Do you know that? No matter how you design the house, if you build a house today, why is it that when the last president went, they have to renovate Aso Rock before a new president came in? Why? Because some of those things he used would have been obsolete. One man told me that anytime he travels, his wife is in trouble. If the wife travels, he is in trouble. If the wife travels, he is in trouble. If he travels, the wife is in trouble because they are alone in their house. And this is the house like the castle of a king. So what is the enjoyment in this dunya? What is it? The point is that we should not be looking at the apparent financial prosperity with the non-Muslims and think that we too must be like them. No. Don't copy their own. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. May Allah protect us. So they are designing their worship places does not mean we too should design our own worship places. Al-Imam Ibn Battal al-Maghribi rahimahullah, when he commented about this author of Abdullah ibn Abbas, he says, هذا يدل على أن السنة في بنيان المسجد. So this is evidence that the sunnah regarding building a masjid is what? Al-Qasdu, middle cost. وترك الغلو في تحسينه. القصد وترك الغلو في ماذا؟ في تحسينه, being of a middle cost and not going excessive in terms of beautifying the masjid. So let us avoid beautifying a mosque. This mosque is okay now. It's not beautified. It's masjid. It's one of the reasons I like the masjid. It's okay. Sure. Average. Rich can pray in it, poor can pray in it, middle class can pray in it, everybody can pray in it. Senators pray there. You don't complain that it is dirty. It's okay, inshallah. Even the tiles are not distracting. If you pray in some masajid, it is the flash of the tiles that you'll be counting. This is what the companions were saying that we should avoid. So that the person performs salah and he can't remember what he read in the first rakah. He's counting the tiles. So some people will look out and say, oh no, we must ask it. And then begin to. So let us not do all of this. That does not mean you cannot have an AC in a masjid. especially in a warm region. In the entirety of Saudi Arabia, I can't remember seeing a fan. I don't know whether a fan can work there. It will be blowing hot. Because once you open the window, even in AC, once you open the window, in another 5 minutes, all of this place will be hot. I tell you, because of excess in Ramadan, temperature rose up to 40 degrees in Ramadan. Even today, day before yesterday, somebody was telling me that, look, here it's hot now at Oshu Pilgrim's departure point today. I was there up to the time of after when I left. I saw one woman selling suit, coat, and cardigan. Coat and cardigan. In Saudi today now, they will throw it away. Even the color of the cloth you will wear now matters. You have to wear a color that is not responsive to heat. Now, and you hardly see people outside in the afternoon. Hardly, it's in the night. Even in hospitals, they change their schedules. It's because it is extremely hot in the afternoon. When it blows a breeze in the afternoon, you will think that they are melting your body with warm water. You know the breeze. It's breezing up, but that breezing, it can kill a person. I tell you this. Especially those of us who came from, look at us, the rain is falling, everything is cold, you should be thanking Allah for it. Allah has really blessed us. I tell you this. So if you have a masjid in places like that, AC will relieve the problems of the people. It will be easy. And other things of convenience for those who perform salah in that environment. But design, exterior, color, these are things, look at the mosque, you don't know where to look at. This is prohibited. May Allah forgive all of us. Makan al-Qas lil-Nisa fil Masjid. A special place for women in the masjid. Is it allowed? My in-laws in the north don't create places for women in the masjid. This is not correct. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he had a place for women in the masjid, behind the masjid, at the back. That is it. Although they in Ramadan, they will create a space for them in Ramadan. But after Ramadan, no. Pray your house. Yes, the house is the best place for a woman to pray. I was counseling a very aged woman today, just before they left. They were from prison. And say, look, don't worry yourself to say you are going to the masjid every time. No. Do you know that a prayer in your room in Medina as a woman is better for you than coming to the masjid in Medina itself and in Mecca? Yes. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was saying to the women that وَبُيُوتُهُنَّ خَيْرٌ لَهُنَّ and that homes are better for them, where was he? Where was he? He was in Oshubu at that time? Where was he? He was talking about Makkah and Medina. Yes, behind him as the Imam sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the homes, the hotel places are better for them, for women. If they come to pray in the mosque, the reward they get is lesser. It means when a woman is in Makkah and Medina, because when you perform a salah in Medina, you have the reward of 6 months salah. If a person is praying Subhi, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha for 6 months, that is the time he will equal one Subhi you made in Masjid al-Nabawi. 6 months. 6 months. And if it is Masjid al-Haram, 54 years. If you pray one Subhi in Masjid al-Haram, the other man will pray Subhi, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, Subhi, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, Subhi, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha for 54 years before he is equal to you. So if you pray for 2 weeks, how far? 54 years times the number of salah for, that is when the time the person will become equal. So it means a woman in Makkah praying in her room has more reward than even that one. Do we get the fake? So it is from the sunnah to leave a place in the masjid for women Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, this hadith occurs in Sunan Abi Dawud. It says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لو تركنا هذا الباب للنساء لو تركنا هذا الباب للنساء. I wish that we leave this door for women. So ulama say if the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam particularly reserved a door for women, then they will have a place. If they don't have a place, why will he reserve a door for them? You see that evidence that they can have a place in the masjid. This place is for women in the masjid. The evidence is this hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. And Nafi, Mawla Abdullah ibn Umar, the fifth slave of Abdullah ibn Umar, Nafi ibn the Shaykh, the teacher of Imam Malik, he says, فَلَمْ يَدْخُلْ مِنْهُ ابن عمر أَبَدًا حَتَّى مَاتَ. Ibn Umar never went through that door till he died. So know it, yes. When you know this door, in the Quran, they pass through it. Don't pass through it. Don't pass through a door that women use in the masjid. May Allah protect us. Kitabatu ayatul Quran ala jidar al-masajid. And I think the verses of Quran in the masjid, is it allowed? Yeah, say, well, Quran is it allowed? Or ayatul kursi? Allah, la ilaha illa. So when you come into the masjid, first of all, read that kursi first. Is it allowed in the Sharia? Is there a Masjid al-Haram too? But is it allowed is the issue. Shaykh Abu Abdullah Bakr Abu Zayd Bakr ibn Abdullah, he gave an explanation regarding this issue in his book At-Tasfiyah al-Dua. This book At-Tasfiyah al-Dua is a very nice book. I wish that our younger brothers in the higher institutions especially pay a lot of attention to the book At-Tasfiyah al-Dua. We will discuss in the issues of Salah, wudu, the azkars that are connected to it, and those things that are innovation. He took Abwab al-Fiqh one after the other, and he's talking about the innovation, all about innovation. Even about reading the Quran, he was mentioning those things that people do that are innovations and not from the Sunnah. So when he was talking about the Quran, the innovations people do with the Quran, he says, وَمِنَ الْمُحْدَثَاتِ, and amongst the newly innovated matters that people have brought, he says, كِتَابَةُ آيَةٍ أَوْ سُورَةٍ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ فِي الْمَسْجِدِ, writing a verse or a surah in the masjid, أو في قبلته, or in the direction of the Qibla. وأن المساجد لله فلا تدعوا مع الله أحدا. It may be in the direction of the Qibla alone, and it may be the whole surah to Yasin Central Mosque. It is surah to Yasin they took. Go. May Allah forgive them and forgive us too. It is wrong. It's an innovation. It says أو في قبلته, or that they write that verse in the direction of the Qibla. أو على المحراب, or on the mihrab. You know what mihrab is? You can write something, verse of Quran on it. It says, I will mimbar, or they could write it on the mimbar. I will bab, or they could write it on the door. Some say, we will write everywhere, but just the door. It is innovation to if it is a verse of the Quran. If it is not a verse of the Quran, what we will ask is that who sent you to write it? Allah is messenger. So he says all these things are from muhdathat. He says وَهَكَذَا, and likewise the same thing applies مِمَّا أُحْدِثَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ, amongst those other things that people have innovated in the mosque. كُلُّ هَذَا عَمَلٌ مُحْدَثٌ. All these are actions that are only innovated. لَا أَسَاسَ لَهُ فِي الشَّرْعِ. We don't have any form of basis in the Sharia. وَفِيهِ مِنَ الْمَحَادِيثِ Amongst the things of evil that will arise when people do things like this is اتخاذ القرآن لغير ما أنزل له. People will take the Quran for something for which it has not been revealed. Allah has not revealed the Quran that it should be written on the walls of the masjid. The same thing ulama say about using verses of the Quran as ringing tone. Don't use Quran as ringing tone. Allah has not revealed the Quran to be used as ringing tone. وَقَدْ يُؤَدِّي إِلَىٰ الْإِمْتِحَانِ And things like that can lead to istihana, taking something lightly. It's everywhere. That is disturbing yourself. وَتَأْوِيلِهِ عَلَى غَيْرِ الْمُرَادِ مِنْهُ And people may begin to take meanings from that thing that is not intended. وَإِسْبَالِ الْمُسْتَمِينَ It may even busy the people who are praying and distract their attention. So, because these things are bad, all these are bad. It says, وَيَظْهَرُ أَنَّ الْإِسْلَامِ It appears that this innovation that they innovate, continuing, it has been long. People have started writing it on the wall. لِتَنْبِيهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ الْمُتَقَدِّمِينَ عَلَيْهِ Because some of the earlier scholars have mentioned it. وَكَانَ مِنْ أَوَّلِ مَنْ رَأَيْتُهُ نَبَّهَ عَلَى شَيْءٍ مِنْ ذَلِكَ And amongst the first of those that I saw was cautioning the people about that, هو ابن بطة الإمام ابن بطة وشيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية والشاطبي وغيره. ابن تيمية الإمام ابن بطة don't say how much you say what you saw to say. They said it long ago. Ibn Battah was among the 4th century ulama, 4th century. So from the 4th century they've been saying that this is an innovation, stop it. And the people did not stop it. It continued until the likes of Ibn Taymiyyah came, until the likes of Imam Shafi'i, Abu Ishaq, they all came and began to warn the people regarding it. So that is about writing on the walls of the masjid. It's also wrong. It's very, very wrong. May Allah protect us. This is not only in Tafsiyah dua. Others amongst the ulama have mentioned that it is wrong. Like Shaykh Abu Naasir in this book, Al-Masjid fil Islam, it's also contained in it. It occurs on the page 31 to 32. That these things are wrong. Hukmu is masjid. Our hukmu is locking masjid. Is it allowed to lock a mosque? I'm about to want to ask me that who told you that it's video? That's the mosque, they are just locking the mosque. Who told them to lock the mosque? Who told you that they can't lock the mosque? So what is the ruling about locking a mosque? Is it allowed? Al-Imam Jamaluddin al-Qasimi, he has a book, Islah al-Masajid, purifying the mosque. It's available if you want. Islah al-Masajid by Jamaluddin al-Qasimi. The Shaykh al-Albani did the taqreed of the ahadith in that book, Islah al-Masajid. Very good book about mosques and the rulings regarding them. He says, غَلْقُ أَبْوَابِ الْمَسَاجِدِ Locking the doors of the masjid فِي النَّهَارِ لَا يَجُوزُ إِجْمَاعًا During the day, it's not allowed by ijma'. So we ask you, what is the evidence? You say what? Ijma'. لَا يَجُوزُ إِجْمَاعًا غَلْقُ الْمَسْجِدِ فِي النَّهَارِ Locking a mosque during the day, it's wrong. He said, Rahimahullah, إِلَّا لِضَرُورَةٍ Except for a bare necessity. وَالضَّرُورَةُ تُقَدَّرُ بِقَدَرِهَا And the circumstances of their necessities are only limited to their particular circumstance. That is, if the ruler of stealing, perhaps the mosque is in a place that is isolated. If they leave it after Salah, people will come and steal. They can lock it and go. Because of the ruler of protecting the things we have kept in the masjid. He said, Rahimahullah, وَأَمَّا فِي اللَّيْلِ But in the night, فَيَجُوزُ إِغْلَاقُهَا, it is allowed to lock it إِذَا كَانَ فِيهَا مَا يُخْشَى عَلَيْهِ مِنَ السَّارِقِ. If the masjid has something that we fear that a thief may come and steal it, so it will not even be restricted to the night alone. If it is during the day and we know that they can steal something in the masjid, then we can say somebody should lock them up. One of the ulama say, oh, even this opinion, we can find a solution to it. He said the masjid can have watchmen, security men who are there to secure the masjid of Allah. In our own homes, don't we have security men? Don't people take security men? So if we take security man for the masjid, so that the masjid remains open 24 hours, then there is no blame, inshallah. But if we can't find the security man, then we lock the mosque by way of protecting and preserving the contents of that masjid that may be stolen if they are left open, then it is allowed, based on this position of Al-Imam Jamaluddin al-Qasim. And if there is no reason at all, we don't fear that they can steal anything, then it becomes prohibited, the ijma, to lock a mosque. I think we are done with that. Now, perhaps we should stop here. Otherwise, we have issues regarding Adab al-Mashi al-Masjid. We have finished about the building of the mosque and the things related to it. How do we come to the mosque? Maybe we should mention one thing and continue from there. How do we come? What are the adab, the manners we have to observe while coming to the masjid? Ulama say the first adab we have to observe while coming to the masjid is what? Al-Ikhlas. Because coming to the masjid is ibadah. If you don't have ikhlas with it, Allah will not accept it. Coming to the masjid ibadah, walking to the masjid. Can I go now? Where are you going? Masallachi. Walking. It's ibadah. So you must have ikhlas with it. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says, Man atal masjida, whoever comes to the masjid, li shay'in, because of anything, fahuwa hazzuhu. Man atal masjida li shay'in, fahuwa hazzuhu. Man atal masjida li shay'in, fahuwa hazzuhu. Whoever comes to the masjid for the sake of something, that is his benefit. That is what he will gain. That is his portion, his share. If you come to the masjid for salah, that is your share. If you come to the masjid for a halqa class, that is your share. If you come to the masjid to say, oh, let me go and see my friends at least, that is your share. Man ata al-masjid li shay'in fahuwa hazzuhu. Whoever comes to the masjid because of something, that is his share from the masjid. That is what he will gain. This is very important. Wherever you go, this is from the meaning of وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Every person will have the kind of result, the kind of reward according to what he has intended. So فَمَنْ جَاءَ لِمَسْجِدٍ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ. So whoever comes to the masjid لِشَيْءٍ بِسَبَبٍ لِنِيَّةٍ سَيِّئَةٍ, for a particular intention that is bad, فَهِيَ حَظُّهُ. That is what he will gain. So since when we come to the masjid, let us make our intention pure and sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillah, will continue from here the etiquettes of coming to the masjid in our next class. We hope to conclude Bismillah these rulings regarding the masjid in our next class. Bismillah. Otherwise, we'll take the next class after the next. But I hope, Bismillah, that we'll be able to conclude it in our next session, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. نعم. آمين وأنت. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. آمين وأنت. How will the place where the Imam will say be? It will be like how every other person has a place in the masjid. He will go in front of the people. That's all. If the place is flat, all flat, the Imam will be in front of the rest of us. All of us will be seeing the Imam. The companions used to look at the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam when they prayed behind him. Do we know that? Do we know that they used to steal and look at him? They look at him alayhi salatu wasalam. They look at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If somebody is there, if the Imam is here, you will see him. But if it's inside this concave, you will not see him.
Second question, sir. Is it appropriate to reserve a particular mosque for Juma alone? This mosque is Juma alone.
Is it allowed to reserve a place for Juma alone? It is not Sunnah. During the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al-Imam Jamaluddin al-Qasmi mentioned it as ijma, that the only Masjid al-Jum'ah was that of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina. In Medina, no second Jum'ah Masjid. And we know that that Masjid occurs, people have come to Salawat there. So people leave their smaller Masjid and come to a bigger Masjid for al-Jum'ah. That's why these masajids are called Masjid al-Jami, the Masjid in which Salat al-Jum'ah is performed. But to have a Masjid for Jum'ah, except to have the issues of Darurat, like Masjid now, it's far away from the people. Except they have students who live around there now. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them to have come to Salawat in that kind of a place. It will be very difficult. So, their circumstance, and they cannot have a masjid inside their campus that will be as big as containing them for Salawat, for Salatul Jummah. In cases like that, we cannot say that such masajids are wrong, because we can't have the lights in the campus, and the place is a bit away from the people. Allahu A'lam. This is what I know now. If I know another thing tomorrow, I will say it. Alaykum Assalam. Okay. One designed for Juma. The masjid for Juma is the masjid. Everybody should be praying there 5 times and Salatul Juma. They could leave the smaller masjid, or it could be adopted as Masjid al-Dar. It's from the Sunnah that we have abandoned. The companions all had Masajid al-Dur. Shaykh Khalid al-Ambari has a book, Masajid al-Dur, the masjid that the companions had inside their houses. It may be a room inside the house, it may be somewhere around your gate. Abu Hurairah had that, radiyallahu anhu. And it has a sunnah. When you go out, you make 2 rakats of nafil. When you come back, you make 2 rakats of nafil before you go into the house. Our brothers, Jama'at al-Tabligh, they say this thing a lot, but I don't think they understand what it means. Allahu A'lam. Masajid al-Dur is the place for that 2 rakats of nafil. It was common amongst the companions, radiyallahu anhu. So they perform 2 rakats while going out. While coming back, they perform 2 rakats before they come in again. Not traveling, going out of the house. It was common amongst the companions. If you go to Musannaf Ibn Abi Shayba, you see a lot of athar in this respect. They call them Masajid al-Dur. And then you observe your Rakatay al-Fajr there. You are all other salawat, apart from Khamsu salawat. The best place you pray it is inside your house. Brother, all other salat. The only ones that are obligatory for you in the masjid and better in the masjid are the 5 daily salah. All others, the best place for you is your house. So if you have masjid in there, you can pray, adopt and pray in that masjid. So, one of those mosques, the smaller one, may be adopted by those around. Nawafil. They could make their nawafil there and perform their obligatory salah in the main masjid where they will perform Salatul Jummah. And then it is not correct. Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah discussed this, that it is not correct that people proliferate masajid in an area. And that's why he gave an advice that the older the better. The older the better. He said because the second one may be Masjid al-Dirar. But I don't have to clear one Muslim. Established based on evil intention. So the second one may be, but the first one is not likely to be because before it there was no one. So he said, Rahimahullah, the earlier the better. Shaykh Jamaluddin al-Qasimi mentioned that in Islah al-Masjid. The older the masjid, the better. May Allah protect us. Let's have one more question before we call it a day today, inshallah. Naam, alaykum salam. This one, Zikr Bid. Zikr Bid. Somebody said he does not know the meaning of padding in a budget. I don't know the meaning of Zikr Bid in the Sharia. Do you understand what he's saying? I understand it, but I don't know it in the Sharia. Because you tell me, what is the meaning now? University. What does it mean? The deeds for zikr. Are there deeds that have been made for zikr? There are different types. So there is computer one now. You just pressing a pump, and you got the rope one. The rope one, there is wood, there is rubber, different types. Which one did the Prophet use, alayhi salam? Who can tell me? No, amongst those zikr deeds, which one did he use? Huh? He did not use anyone, sallallahu. The Prophet Muhammad, Anabi ki fata subah. Somebody abused us one day. Can you imagine? He said subah. You know what I said? I said Anabi labijo. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة Anabi onita subah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What other answer can we give? So there is nothing like zikr beat. Anabi says zikr jibuwayina sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was Aisha radiallahu anha recorded in Sahih Muslim that kana yadhkurullaha fi kulli ahyanihi. In every condition, the messenger is remembering Allah alayhi wa sallam. Anywhere you see him, he's saying something sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's saying something. Many Muslims are gafilun today. They say, oh, if you hold the Tasfiyah, it will help you remind you. Say, I follow me. If you don't hold the Tasfiyah, you can't remember that you have to remember Allah. Something has to be done with your heart itself. So throw the Tasfiyah away. They don't have any benefit. In this book, there is 78 pages bahas about Tasfiyah, proving that it is a bid'ah. The one you see that is removed in the book At-Tasfiyah by him was taken from this book. He only brought it out and said, that's why you see it in Tabaat, Misriya, and it is printed in it. They bring it out and print it as a book. Otherwise, it is part of this book of Shaykh Dua, the ruling of Tasfiyah. It's an innovation. It is copying Catholics. They are the ones who have it. It started from Catholicism. And Nabi will fight a Subah, sallallahu. Allah Nabi will fight a Subah, sallallahu. So any person who wants to follow him into Al-Jannah should be like him. So the answer, Kila Nabi wa man fa Allah, sallallahu alayhi. Nabi man kawani. We are very passionate about following him if you don't know. And anything that he did not do, we don't want to do it if it is ibadah. So the messenger used to count his hand, alayhi salatu wa salam. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The mixture, the breakages of these hands are the things that he will count, alayhi salatu wa salam. One of it like this is 15, and he only counts the right hand, the yaminihi. Not right and left, right. So when you count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you have 15. If you count it 2 times, you are finished, subhanallah. You only add 1, 2, 3 again to make 33. So you have subhanallah, alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar. You don't make Allahu Akbar 33 if you like to make it 34. If you make it 33, you end with La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Lahul mulk wa lahul hamd. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. To make it 100. But otherwise, you can make Allahu Akbar to be what? 34. You can do that on this hand. And then he told us La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, 100 in the morning. It is easy to count with this right hand alone, one right hand. This is my saying, sallallahu. Káwa ní òṣèlú ẹ̀ kó lè rí bó ṣe máa rí. May Allah accept our worship. So there is nothing like zikr beads. Today they modernize it, they put it in the hand like a ring. They be pressing it. I say, are you playing video game? I play somebody. Are you this is video? I know. I just wanted to fraud the person. I said, sorry, this is video game or what? He said, no, it's that bad. So our hands should be, because these hands, فَإِنَّهُنَّ مُسْتَنْفِقَاتُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. They will be asked to speak for you on the day of Qiyamah. So they say, you need to use me for adhkar, ادخلوا الجنة. I enter Al-Jannah, inshallah. May Allah make all of us from the people of Al-Jannah. May He forgive us our mistakes and overlook our shortcomings. All of what we have explained, may Allah make us understand better than we have tried to explain. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا. The messenger sometimes will make dua after his sermon. There's a hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar in Amal al-Yawm wal-Layla that Imam ibn Sunni, and that after is Hasan. He used to make dua at the end of some of his sermons. Although he used to say, Allahumma qsim lana min khashyatika ma tahulu bihi baynana wa bayna ma'asik. This dua, ulama say this is evidence that we can make dua after a sermon. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا. The reason I'm saying is something like that one you did, where did you see it? Sometimes illnesses in the mind cause things like this. May Allah protect us. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. آمين.